What do you get when you put Jackie, the joke man, modeling, and Peter Bales on a show called More Stand-Up Memories? You get this. Funny memories, funny stories, comedians and jokes you've seen before. So stay a while and laugh with us at least until you're bored.
Stay with us.
I want to catch the son of a bitch that wrote the lyrics to that jingle.
Stay with us until you're bored. I love it.
Tune in and hear jokes you've heard before, and leave once you get bored.
Welcome to Stand Up Memories. I'm Peter.
Shut up.
This is Jackie the Joke Man Martling. I'm
Hi.
Peter Bales.
Hi.
We have a show for you, a terrific guest. His name, let's bring him in, is Glenn Farrington,
Yay!
whom I still think of as a Long Island
You
guy.
do the same exact intro, and then you just plug in the name. Why don't you just record it?
What do you mean the same
He's the
intro?
greatest guy. He's unbelievable, so funny, so terrific. Here is Glenn Farrington.
Wait, you mean that wasn't personalized for me?
No.
It is. The whole thing is going to be
My
personalized.
Hi, Glenn. Thanks for being here.
This
Appreciate
guy,
it.
Glenn Farrington.
We go way back.
Let me
Very
give
way
some.
back.
Can I just tell the audience about this man before we start talking to him?
Mm.
Real kid. I think of him first and foremost as a stand-up comedian, and I am right, Glenn, to say that you got your stand-up cred here on Long Island. It's where you started, right? Is
That's
that
where
fair?
It's not where I started, but it's where I started as a professional, starting to work in professional venues.
All right. Because yeah, you were a working guy everywhere here on Long Island, and I will tell you this. We'll go into it later. Not only is this man a stand-up comedian at heart, he's also an entrepreneur with a very interesting story to tell. And
He's
first,
actually made enough money to piss off the rest of us.
he has. That's right. Everybody hates him because he made some money.
Yeah.
And but right now, this man is a screenwriter, and I wanted to start with Glenn. Do you love it? Do you hate it? What do you like most about being a screenwriter, and what frustrates you the most? And he's out in L.A., by the way. That's where he lives now.
I think the thing I love about it the most, I primarily write in television, although you'll soon hear about some features that I have. But the thing I love about it most is the camaraderie that we have in TV, because there's a writer's room. Anytime you're in a TV show, all these things that you see on the screen were first belted out and brought together and thought of in a room full of writers. And you just pitching ideas back and forth to each other. And I love that because it reminds me of being in the green room when we were comics. We were just hanging out and talking. It's the
Which
same.
was the greatest part of any gig.
Absolutely. And that's why I love writing for TV. You know, writing for features, you're in your home office by yourself, turning stuff in. And it's not the same thing.
Now, I always hear about writers' rooms, but I strongly suspect it's something, unless you've actually been there and been part of one, similar to a green room, but it's got to be more intense.
A lot of that depends on who's the showrunner. If the showrunner is running a really good writer's room, it's just like a green room. If you're writing on a comedy, it should feel like it's a green room where you're just spitballing ideas and having fun, and creative process just happens.
Everybody watching who's ever done an improvisation knows that one bad actor in an improv can kill the whole improv. Is
Kind of like this show.
Yeah, Jackie.
No,
but
I think that
I push
like
on
a green room or a writer's room has everything to do with how much you like and respect the other people in the room. If you're in a green room with a bunch
Absolutely.
of comics and you don't like them, you don't think they're funny, it's like, get me out of here.
Right.
But if you're having fun, you don't even want to do the show. You're having so much fun, Like when we were doing the Stern Show, it was just such a joy being there, even though we're torturing each other. It was just great. It was like magical. And, and there's a little bit of hate, a little bit of love and all that. But as long as the ideas are flying, it's fantastic,
To what Peter was saying, though, sometimes when things are going pretty hot, it's going around the room. There's that one guy or person pitches an idea. It's just like, everyone's like, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, like all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from under the ideas, you know.
So it does happen, but you know, it's a cool environment to be in.
So tell us about stuff you're working on, stuff you have worked on that you
The
feel
last
proud of.
thing I worked on TV wise was Roswell, New Mexico,
Okay.
which is the reboot of Roswell. The first show I ever did was for Kicking It on Disney, which was a great show to be on. We had a lot of fun on that show. But I still have a close relationship with ABC, so there's a possibility of something's happening this year with them.
But you don't want to jinx it right now.
Well, I'm not really even allowed to talk about it, but the other stuff I can. I have a couple of projects going out. One with Ken F. Levin, who's the gentleman who brought The Boys to TV, and he's a gentleman behind Preacher, and before that, Road to Perdition. He's a gentleman that owned a law firm in Chicago, but he loves comic books. So a lot of comic books is what he brought to the industry out here. That's how Preacher happened. That's how The Boys happened. And now one of my comic books series is coming out later this year, beginning next year, called The Fireman. And we're hoping that's like the next Boys. And that's one of the projects we're bringing out. And it's about a group of secret firefighters that not only fight fires, but they battle the demons that use the fires as an entree in and out of our world. So,
Jeez. No, this is animated, or is this?
oh no, that's gonna be live action.
Live action. It's called
Yeah.
The Fire. What's it? Firefighters?
The fireman.
The firemen. The
Yeah.
firemen.
Yeah,
Very cool.
And they battle demons who are secretly
yeah. Well,
hiding behind.
yeah, they're using the fires as a portal. And so a lot of times these firemen don't tell the other firemen what's going on. They get to the fire when they know a portal's open. They fight the fire and try to deal with these demons that are sneaking out of our world at the same time.
Jesus.
That would be bad if it was just a kitchen fire and there was no portal. There'd be no show. Certain fires are portals, but I assume they have to have big fires.
I would say you got to take a fire when you can get it.
You can
I mean, how many fires are there? You know?
All right. So this is very cool. You are a screenwriter. Now you have transitioned from one gender to the no. You've transitioned
What?
from
I
stand-up.
did not know that.
No, he's
I was like, this is
transitioned.
news to me. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I would like to.
How you? When was the last time you did stand-up?
Oh God.
And do you miss it?
Oh yeah, especially when I see bad comics.
Yeah.
You always miss it, but that's
I missed it. The last time I worked like steadily was working on ships. So that's going back. The last time was in 2018.
All right. So that's not that long ago.
No.
I mean, I know your first love was in the business was stand up. You built an act. I saw you build an act. I saw you become a heavy hitter before my very eyes. And you, like many comics, worked on ships.
Yeah.
Now this.
Working on ships. When I first started working on ships, everyone was like, "Oh, he's a cruise ship act," and I was like, "Guys, you know the money you're making and what you can do. You should be doing." No. And then when all of a sudden the clubs started going down, boy, did my phone start ringing from all these guys.
how do I get in? How do I get in?
How do I get in?
I'm sure I was one of those phone calls.
Okay, but this guy, this is a great story. Everybody watching, this is when you keep your brain on, even when you're not doing stand-up on the ships and you're walking around thinking, get a class. Tell the story, Glenn. I called you an entrepreneur. That doesn't really give it justice. Okay, listen to this. Listen to this.
I was working. I was an executive at America Online in the comedy division at the time, and I was still doing stand-up. And I was on the ship. And to show you how long this was, it was the first time the AOL stock was about to split, and we were all excited about it splitting because we have stock, And I'm on the cruise ship, and I'm going crazy so I went to the radio room and I said, "Can I get an email here?" And he said, "No, we can't get email." I said, I need to find out what's going on shore. Something's very important. I have to be, because we don't have email. I said, "Yeah, but you have a fax machine." He goes, "Yeah, we have a fax machine." Well, that's the same thing. It's just digital. And so I went back to him all frustrated. And my wife's like, "You want to go out and do something?" I said, "Nope." So I sat in there, I wrote a business plan for a company called Digital Seas International. And I put all the internet cafes on Wi-Fi on every major cruise line in the world.
Jesus Christmas.
And he made more than
He made
more-
nothing.
more-
He doesn't have to
he
be
made
sitting
more
there
money.
talking to you.
He made more money than he used to get a weekend at Governor's Comedy Club with that company.
Really?
He
I don't know. The Balazos gig paid really well back then.
Jesus.
to our audience watching, comedians from our generation, look back when we used to get paid $40 plus a cheeseburger if the cook has time. That was our pay. And this guy goes up and he
Can we get that hamburger now? Oh, the cook went home.
this guy makes millions by using his brain on the crew. I give you all the credit in the world, man, and I really do. And now you've got the freedom to pursue a new love, which is screenwriting.
Now,
Right.
were you shocked when they told you there was no digital cafe or no digital hookup?
Yeah, it made no sense. It made absolute no sense because I tried to explain if the satellite can get in digital transmissions for a fax. I was working with AOL, so I was very familiar with the world at that time. And when it comes to electronic boom and, just how things were being done. And I kept thinking, you can get an email. It's not that hard. I mean, it took a little working with the satellite provider and, being able to integrate into the point of sale system on board the ships. But the hardest part was convincing them that I wanted to build an internet cafe on the ship. And, it's like New York real estate on a ship. They don't
Yeah,
want
the space is very valuable.
Right. So I had to explain how much money they would make by doing this. And what I did is I made in a warehouse in Miami, I made a mock-up of what an internet cafe would look like. And I had a model show up to the executive offices with a limo, brought them over, and they got to see and feel what the internet cafe was like. And that sold them on the idea.
Oh, that's great.
This guy has a genius idea.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, I'm looking at myself. You know what I invented? He invents the internet cafe on cruise ships. I invented something called carpet socks. Socks with thick pile carpet sewn into the bottom of them so that people can wear them and they can't afford carpet, but they can have the feeling that they have expensive carpet.
That's almost as good.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing. It's so I got a friend from grammar school who was over it. He wound up moving away from his wife. He was going to Thailand to buy schmata, to buy material to come back, and they had an incredible clothing line. And he was at a pool and he asked for one of those rum drinks, one of the fancy rum drinks. And they didn't know what he's talking about. And it turned out somehow that whole thing with the mixers and the Mai Tais they didn't have them in Thailand. It had just escaped them. And he just created that there. So he's paying these kids a penny a day to unload these boxes of, he hit the lottery. It's just something where nobody had thought of it. It just slipped through the cracks.
Some people that are inventors are ahead of their time. And carpet
I
socks
knew this guy who invented carpet socks.
are ahead of their time. I'm ahead of my time.
You
Wait a minute. So
embarrassing.
if you wear these socks, you can't go across the carpet and touch someone to try and electrocute them. You can't do that.
That could be power during an outage. Brilliant.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Glenn.
Hey,
I
I
have
gotta
to
tell you,
ask
not everything you're talking about, everything I've done, it would never happen if it wasn't for Jackie. Jackie's the reason. I swear on my parents' dead graves, everything that's ever happened was because of Jackie Mortling. He put me right.
Ask him how many checks he sent me.
I want to hear him explain how everything you've done is
I
because
gave him a
Jackie.
gig.
No, he didn't just give me a gig. He gave me the first gig that was an important gig. He gave me on Long Island, Governor's Comedy Shop. And I was just trying to break out of DC. I was working with a lot of great comics but I didn't do anything on the road. And I lived in my parents' Long Island. I just wanted to be in Long Island. And I met Jackie after not seeing him since I was a kid at the Right Track Inn in Freeport.
Jesus.
Throwing his record albums into the crowd and hit me in the head with the little 45. He's going to use your finger and go, not in my eye, my God. Anyway, so Hal Spear, God rest his soul, he got me booked on this one night gig in Jersey, and Jackie was on the gig, and he came up to afterwards and said, "Hey, you should be working." And he got me at Governor's, and he put in a good word at other clubs, and that helped me start building the career. And honestly, everything I have today, I owe to stand-up comedy. Everything.
That's great. That's great.
Well, it
wife
was
and
your
ownership.
springboard. A lot of comedians use stand up as a springboard.
Well, it could hurt, but
Yeah.
Some people use it as a springboard to addiction and alcoholism.
Yeah, but this is about Glenn, not about
boy,
you.
that took a turn.
You set me up for that.
Where's the smile guy all the time that I need?
Now,
Comedy
but
can
actually,
put you in the grave.
Actually, that's nice what Glenn just said.
It's
about-
very nice.
And I believe it because Jackie is not known for that. Now, I
booked
again,
every act in that goddamn
I know
club
you-
for 2 years.
I know you
And you
did.
know what happened there, right? I
What
booked
happened?
like 3 or 4 acts a week, me and Nancy, for 2 years. And then one night they said, "Well, you're fired. We don't need you anymore," because they had taken everybody's phone number that worked there. So they had collected all the acts' phone numbers, and all of a sudden they didn't need Jackie anymore.
to our international audience, Governor's Comedy Club, used to be called Governor's Comedy Shop, Glenn's right, is the premier comedy club on Long Island. They have 3 locations. And
Governors and the brokerage in Belmore.
Yeah,
And,
the Broken Chuckles in Mineola.
No more Chuckles.
no more Chuckles.
Well, there's
Wow, Chuckles. Oh, so funny.
And the
McGuire's.
building burned down.
East Side Comedy Club, right?
East Side Comedy Club.
They were all separate.
Yeah.
East Side was the very first.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Richie Minervini and a couple guys opened the East Side Comedy Club. And then his brother was such a jerk that they tossed him out. So he started Chuckles Comedy Club in Mineola.
Oh,
It's
I didn't know the
such
history
interesting
behind that.
stuff. You know,
All right, Glenn.
What?
Jackie and I always talk about how at the diner when comedians get together, you tend to talk about the times that things went wrong because 99% of the time the shows go great. But when you get together at the diner and there's been some time, you laugh with the other comedians about the things that went wrong, the tough nights.
This is
Rack your
absolute-
brain right now
This
and
is
share.
the worst thing that's ever happened to me, and I still
Go.
think about it to this day. Pips in Sheepshead
Oh.
Bay, Brooklyn.
oh,
I'd only worked there once before. They hired me back, and I was living in D.C. at the time. I brought another comedian with me, Ed Wilczynski, right? And I told him, I said, it's going to be a tough crowd, but you'll win them over. Don't worry about it. We get there. It's the worst snowstorm New York had seen in years. Completely stranded. Everything's done. We're at the hotel going, I don't know if they're even going to be able to. We get to the club. There's only 2 elderly women in the audience, and that is it. And if you knew the guys that ran the club, they were like, "No, we can still do it." So
Yeah.
I'm going, "This is gonna suck." And Ed goes up there and does a great job, and they're laughing. They are completely toasted. These 2 women, they are doing shot. I couldn't believe it. They were drunk as hell. But he went up there and did great. So now I'm like, all right, at least it's a story. I get a story out of performing for 2 elderly women, right? I get on stage. I'm doing great for 3 minutes. Then one of the women throws up like projectile vomit. And then the other woman gets up and takes her home.
I guess that's the classic heckle.
Wait, I'm about to get off the stage. I hear from the back, we didn't give you the light yet.
They
That's
keep
fun.
going. They wanted their money's worth.
That's fun.
Oh no, man! Oh, that is great. The sad thing is nowadays, I would have hit on those elderly women, but
Oh,
back
my
then,
God.
that was the night. That was probably the early '80s or something. And
so much. Frankie Pace did a show at the Concord in the Catskills for the police, for the cops. It was some kind of gathering or something, and they're notorious drunks and crazy. And he was on stage doing his act, and he looked down, and there was a woman giving a cop a blowjob in the front row as he's trying to do his act. It's so hard to believe.
This is a clean show. Please take the children out of the room.
No, it only happened once.
After the fact.
He
That
couldn't get
happened
it
to
up.
me
He
at
couldn't get it up in him.
Dangerfield.
Could you imagine all the stuff I've seen from the show, from the stage?
That happened to you? What do you wait?
At
did you just-
Dangerfield, I was on stage, and
Oh,
a
my
very
goodness.
well-known person, I don't know if that person's still alive or not, I want to say, was
Come
sitting
on.
in the audience. I don't want to, that's not my gig. I don't like doing that.
Oh, stop.
We
But
love it.
it was happening, and you know, I get on stage and Rodney gets up and looks at the same thing and goes, "Hey, that's respect."
Rodney said that? Oh, wow.
That's fun.
Oh, man.
Of course, that's fun. You know.
Yeah. I'll tell you, when it comes to drunk stories, the best drunk story I had when I was working the ships, there was a big ship called the Normandy. I'm sorry, the Norway, huge ship, right? And it was like there was a deck that went all around the ship for the crew and for the passengers. And one of the crew guys stole one of those scooters off one of the islands, one of the ports of call. You know, as they rent out, he steals it, right? And the problem is we had a head of security on board that was drunk all the time.
Head of security.
Oh yeah, he was. But they couldn't fire him. I guess there was someone shoreside that had his back, and his family, whatever. They know we could never get rid of this guy. It was a pain in our ass. Anyway, so cut to where this crew member decides at 3 a.m. to take the scooter out on the crew deck. And like, he's just going around that 100-yard crew deck, and this security guy comes out, turns out, bam, slams right into the guy.
Oh,
Knocked the
jeez.
security guard flat his ass. The crew member, thinking really quick, took the scooter, threw it overboard because we're at sea, right? Back in. The captain comes out with another officer, goes, "What happened here?" And the guy gets up, goes, all great, goes, "I got hit by a motorcycle." They
So he patted him on
fired
the head and
guy.
said, "You'll be all right. You'll be all right."
I love it. I love it.
That's a great one.
Glenn, we always hear comedians talk about, really good comedians talk about being fired from the cruise ships for saying what sounds like one little thing that got a complaint. Do you have any advice for comics who might want to work on cruise ships? What to avoid doing?
I can tell you wholeheartedly the best advice, and I've given this to comics back in the day when I was on the ships. Do not do your act for the first 7 to 8 minutes. Don't do your act. You're on board for a while. Get to know the ports. Get to know everything that they're dealing with. Talk about the ship. Talk about the food. Talk about what it's like being a tour. Talk about things that make them embrace you, because you got to understand, they're not there to see your show. They're there to do something till they eat again. You know, it's not like you're showing up to a comedy club. You're just something for them to do till they're moving on to the next thing. So you got to let them know you're one of them. And for those first 7 to 8 minutes, just talk about, you know, the midnight buffet. Talk about, you know, anything else you can think of. And then once you know, as a comic, you know, when you finally got them and they're on your side, then you land into your material.
So you got to embrace them and pull them in.
Right.
That makes
it's a different
sense.
world. It's not
Perfect
working at a
sense.
club.
Yeah, that makes
Wow.
perfect sense. That makes perfect sense.
Did you ever work a cruise?
A couple times.
I have never done that.
The thing is, they want you all the time, and for example, if you have kids or something like that, that's a tough.
It's a tough life. I was at the longest I was on not one ship, but a series of ships. I was gone at sea for 8 months at one point.
Like from one boat to another boat to another boat.
For 8 months. But that was the longest.
What'd that do to your personal life? I mean, it's
I was a young man. It was a lot of fun back then.
He came home
Okay, I
and
got
he had
you.
children he didn't remember.
I'm sure you don't want to tell those shipboard stories.
But you know, it's like I said, comedy has made my life incredible. I met my wife when she was a dancer on a ship and I was a comedian. And she was trying to tell me I was just filling in for a friend, and all the dancers on ships say that. And she goes, "I really am on Broadway." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, you're on Broadway." And you know, but we really hit it off, got along, and I went to visit her, and sure enough, she was on Broadway, and she's done many Broadway shows, and we wound up falling in love. And we just had our 30-year anniversary.
Oh, congratulations!
Wow. Congrats.
You're a happy guy, and
Yeah. I got 2 great kids too.
can
Congrats.
you tell us how old? Congratulations!
Hunter is 29, and Zuzu just turned 22.
All right.
Zuzu.
Zuzu, like Zuzu's pedals.
I don't.
Well,
From
you're entirely too well adjusted for somebody who started in stand-up.
Yeah, he's in the wrong business.
Well, the thing is, I was always hoping once you get married, you have kids, you have doctors and lawyers to take care of you, and everybody's in the industry in our family. And right now, this is like the worst time to be in the industry, what's going out here in LA. My wife's an actress, my son's in sound, and my daughter is probably going to do the best of all of us. She's about to graduate from Dodge University, at Chapman University, Dodge School of Filmmaking. She's an editor, and she already has job offers at major studios waiting for her to get out. So she's
wow. So is it tougher now? It can't be tougher than COVID.
Oh yeah.
It is?
Yeah, because during COVID, they were still trying to get some of the shows that were still in production going, and they had all the people on with the masks and making sure everything was done right and distance, but they're still trying to make the money roll. Then the worse it got, they were like, oh God, okay, this is terrible. And then we started coming out of it. Then the strike hit, the writer's strike hit. And we're like, okay, that's over. Then the actor strike hit. And then we were waiting a little bit long. Finally, the industry was going to come back. And that's when we had the fires. And you got to understand, the fires took out most of the main execs in this town lived in the Palisades. Their homes are all gone. You think they want to hear your pitch? You think they want to talk about what we want to put on? And a lot of people that worked in the crews and stuff, they all worked in Altadena, and so they lived there. And so everyone's homes are gone. And so that knocked us out for another year. It literally, it wasn't until 3 weeks ago that I finally saw this industry starting to open up again. When all of a sudden my phone started ringing and the producer was like, now we should pull the trigger. We've been waiting to, we weren't talking like that for a long time.
3 weeks ago?
For me, and talking to friends, they still don't think it's opened up. But
all right.
Those fires are unbelievable. I mean, it wasn't like there was a fire in the kitchen, like this ground where there used to be a house, right? I mean, it's just
terrible. It's terrible. This is the funniest thing ever to do on a show, talking about how people lost their homes in fires.
Glenn, I want the truth.
Oh,
are movies and television shows today as good as they were when we were much younger?
They're better.
Better?
Yeah.
How so?
Well, for TV, they're absolutely better because you remember it took The Sopranos to really change the landscape of how television production was happening and how it looked. It was being shot like it was a movie, but still on the smallest screen. And that opened up Mad Men, and all of a sudden, Breaking Bad and all these shows started coming out that really took advantage of it. So
finally there was a lot of money behind it.
Right. And I think TV has really grown to the point where it really is. Granted, we have a lot of great feelings about the shows we grew up with, but if you go back and look at them, the production values aren't the same. I love Columbo. I just watched all the Columbos, and half the time I'm laughing when I should not be laughing.
No, we watch the old Perry Masons, and and we sit there and yell at the screen like, "Come on!"
Right.
Me and my girlfriend have started, for whatever reason, from the beginning, watching the old James Bond movies, which is so fun because it's like a travelogue, but the special effects, there is nothing special about those special effects. Goldfinger, Fort Knox is made out of cardboard. It's just laughable, but it's great fun.
Yeah. I guess you have your music of your youth and the movies and the TV shows, and they're going to be with you for the rest of your life. I mean,
but as far as movies go, I think movies, every generation has great film. I can think about great films that from before when my parents were kids that I still watch today and love. And it really depends on, again, that collaboration, that beautiful collaboration of a director and a writer and the actors and the producers and production design. There's so much to making a feature film, but when it works, it works. And I think that goes across the board. TV, on the other hand, it's a gun and shoot type of process, especially if you're in a show we're not doing as many episodes as we used to. When I was first started, we were doing like 20, 23 episodes. Now you're lucky if you do 13.
And how many did the Honeymooners do in a season?
I have no idea.
39.
I think it's something like 39.
But they did that 1 year.
I know. But they
My
used to do
favorite
so
thing
many
was
more.
working at a studio lot where Desilu started, where the Desilu studio was. I would just stand there and just look at it and think, this is the coolest thing ever. You know, just to think that Lucy, you know, I Love Lucy was shot there was just incredible.
It's amazing.
All right. This is a happy man. This is a guy, and I'm glad to hear that production is opening up. Boy, oh
It is.
boy.
It's you know, it's tough. It's hard, but it's opening up.
And everybody who is a young stand-up comedian out there, stand-up can be a springboard to so many things. Glenn Farrington is proof. He goes on the ships. He makes $200 million. I might be exaggerating a little bit,
Peter.
but I would like the IRS to know that he hit a lot of that money.
You're sitting on it.
No, but I mean, good ideas are rewarded. That's the way it should be. And now he's out there with a wonderful family, a screenwriter, Glenn Farrington.
There's a lot of great New York comics that are out here, and they're all doing different things. It's incredible.
I know. We scratched the surface. Glenn, will you come back on again with us sometime?
Absolutely. Let's get into the funny stuff.
That's right. This time flew by. Glenn, you're the best for coming on, man. It's great to see you.
I appreciate both of you guys. I really do. You know how I feel about you, Peter. You've always been a stand-up guy.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
Are you going to let that compliment pass?
I thought I'd let it kind of boil over right there while you sat there wondering what I was going to say.
Glenn Farrington, and I think the fireman is what a great idea.
I mean, we'll see it on the small screen. That'd be great.
I love it. The fireman, and a big fire is a portal to the demons. I love it. It's a great idea. This has
You're talking to someone that's watching Perry Mason. Come on.
I'm not a zombies and werewolf guy.
I am, because it's evolved.
No, it sounds.
I love it.
Let me tell you, it's done in the vein of a dramedy. I don't take it very serious. It's
good.
Yeah,
I love it. All right,
give our best to anybody that we know, that you know,
the New York guys,
absolutely.
Glenn Farrington, thank you. You've been a terrific guest. Jackie the Joke Man Martling, you have been Jackie.
well, thank you.
And I am
and
Peter
you
Bales.
Are who?
Peter Bales.
Oh, okay.
And we will see you next time.
Thanks, Glenn.
On Stand Up Memories.
I'm just going to wait for